It's 10 a.m. guys, and let me start the meeting.
We don't have our evaluators yet.
They'll join, don't worry. All right. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and dear guest. My name is Purva Hulke, and I'll be the Sergeant at Arms for today's meeting. I welcome you all to the 205th meeting of Sinhgad Toastmasters Club. Before starting the meeting, I would like to mention a few ground rules which we will follow in the Toastmasters meeting. First, please turn off your mobile phones or put them on silent mode. As Toastmasters, we don't talk about sex, religion, and politics, so please refrain from discussing these topics. Please put yourself on mute if you are not speaking. Please try to keep your videos on for making the meeting more lively and interactive. As everybody in their life has a mission to achieve their goals, likewise, our Toastmasters Club also has a mission. The mission of our Toastmasters Club is to provide a mutually supportive and a positive learning environment in which every member has the opportunity to develop communication and leadership skills, which in turn foster self-confidence and personal growth. With this, I announce this meeting as open and hand over the stage to the presiding officer, Purva Hulke, which is me. Yes. So I'll just thank the Sergeant at Arms, Purva Hulke, for giving me the virtual dice. And once again, I'll formally welcome you all to the 205th meeting. Well, guys, today is a special day because again, we are having a very interesting agenda. So rather than the normal agenda that we have speeches, table topics, and evaluation, we have made few changes, which is like we just have the prepared speeches section. There are no R counters or TT, but we are planning to have some special thing. And after the prepared speeches section, that will be a secret though. So stay tuned for that secret. And we are also having an educational session on table topic contest by our district leader, Sanjay R. So we have a lot of interesting things planned up and we'll come to it later on. Now, let me quickly take some guest introduction. So I see we have one guest, Harshada, in our meeting. So Harshada, can you just please turn on your videos and unmute yourself and just tell us how you came to know about the meeting and why did you join the meeting today? And something about you.
Sure. Thank you. So my name is Harshada Ksirsagar. I'm joining in from Seattle, US. I got to know this from the WhatsApp group, and I'm so grateful for you guys to keep posting over there. That's really amazing. Every time there is an interesting session, or rather every time I can find time to fit in this meeting, I try to join in because the kind of content you guys plan for these meetings is really valuable. And every time I think I learn some or the other thing from your meetings. So I have joined today's meeting and I plan to join every meeting that is possible for of your club, basically.
Thank you, Harshada, for your kind words. And definitely, I see that you do have, your free time matches with our club timings. So why don't you just take up a membership, dual membership in our club? That would be really great, I guess.
I'm already a dual member. I'm a member of Pune Northwest Toastmasters Club and a club here in Microsoft. Oh. But I would, this didn't strike me earlier, but this is something I'll keep in mind and later on I'll probably act on it next term.
Yeah, sure. Again, thanks for joining.
Thank you.
All right. Now let's just move with the agenda ahead. And let us move directly with the prepared speeches section. Okay, I guess Ayub has not joined yet.
Yeah, he's having some login issues, it seems. I think you can go first.
Yeah, but let me just also ask the timer to please explain his role. Tushar, just let me introduce Tushar to you all. So Tushar is a tech lead and is also working as a AWS cloud developer and has 9+ years of experience in it. He loves to watch different web series and TV shows, and he has joined Toastmasters to improve his communication and leadership skills. And today he's playing the role of timer. So I'll just invite Toastmaster Tushar to please explain his role to the audience.
Hello. Good morning, Madam President, fellow Toastmasters, and my dear guest. As timer, my duty would be to note down time of prepared speeches and speech evaluation, as we do not have table topics section today. Hence, I'll be noting time for prepared speeches and its evaluation. So whenever speaker reaches to the minimum time allotted, I will display the green card. I'll just change my background here. So when it is reaches to minimum time limit, I'll show the green card. And when the speaker reaches to the midpoint of time range allotted, I will display the yellow card. And then when the speaker reaches to the end of his speaking time, I will display the red card. So you can see the background changes in the video. That will be the process I will be following right now. And also the speaker would have 30 seconds of grace time before the green or after the red card is displayed to end the speech in order to qualify for the vote. I will report the qualifying times whenever called for. And that's it from my side. Over to you, presiding officer Purvalke.
Thank you so much, Tushar. All right, guys. Now let's move ahead with the prepared speeches section. We have two speakers, I and Sashank. And Sashank's evaluator is yet to join. He'll join in a few minutes. So I'll begin with my speech. First of all, I would like to call my evaluator, TM Suyok, to please read out the speech objectives and the title of the speech.
Yeah, thank you so much, Purva. Before I start, actually, my phone is switched off. So if you can just send me once more your evaluation sheet.
I have sent
yeah, that's. Can you, like, I can't say it. Can you send me again if you have it?
Okay, I have sent you. Can you see?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. So my target speaker today, Toastmaster Purva, will be attempting her level 1 project 2 from the manual motivational strategies, which is the project of evaluation and feedback 1. The objective of this project is actually to give the speech, take feedback, and implement these feedbacks in her next speech. Timer, please note that the timing for the speech.
So I guess we lost you.
Dropped out or what? Okay, no problem. So the timing is 5 to 7 minutes. And the title of the speech is Why You Need to Take Care of Your Mental Health Right Now. I hope that is clear to everyone. I'll begin my speech. Timer, please start the time as soon as I utter my first word. Can see you. Okay. Just a minute. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. Before I start my speech, I would just like to ask you all, what is mental health? I mean, good mental health for you. What is your definition of good mental health? Anybody?
Without any stress, we can be happy.
Okay, correct. Anyone else?
For me, mental health is to be in a position to understand what are the things to take stress off, when not to take stress off, And even when you take stress, you would know how to deal with it. And if you don't know how to deal with it, be in a position to at least ask for help.
True. Yes, that is definitely one of the aspects of mental health. We all have mental health. It is just as important as physical health. Mental health comprises of our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It affects how we feel, think, and act. It also is a determinant of how we handle stress. Today, I would like to share my journey in maintaining my entire mental health. 4 years back, I had just finished giving my entrance exam for IIT JEE. And in those 2 years, when I was preparing, I had bouts of competitiveness, pressure to get good marks, and there were a lot of things that were going into my head. I was really, really stressed a lot, and I had decided that once I joined the college, I'm going to sleep. That's all I will do. No college attending, nothing, just giving the exam, and all the rest of the time I'm going to devote to sleep. And I just read a lot of books, ate and slept, and repeated the cycle. I had gained a lot of weight, and I was doing a lot of self reflection. I was journaling, and I was noticing a pattern of self hate, where I had high expectations of myself. Also, I had, because in the institute where I was studying, everyone was much more intelligent than me. So I had developed this inferiority complex, and I had indulged in a lot of negative self rumination. I was constantly in that state of anxiety. What will happen next? What if I don't do this thing right now? How this is going to impact me? And I was criticizing myself. I always was in this feeling that whatever I do, I'm not going to be good. I mean, I'm never enough. I'm just never enough. And I got into a serious depression. I had to consult to a psychiatrist, and he and I together analyzed my mental states very deeply. And I realized one key thing that is needed to improve your mental health is to recognize this vicious pattern. In case of me, the biggest vicious pattern that I was into was that I had this poison of comparison in myself. I was comparing myself with everything and everyone around me. I judged myself so hard that I lost the will to cope with the demand of the present moment. And when I lost that, I failed at few things. And I mean, I failed at giving my best to that particular activity which I was doing. And I felt guilty. I lost energy. I failed again. I failed again. Again, I was more guilty. And the cycle just continues. And I got very deep into that cycle. And somehow it was about 1.5 years into, I mean, in my college, and then lockdown happened and I joined Toastmasters. When I joined Toastmasters, I came across people, and it gave me a lot of insights into my own thought processes, that how I came across the audience, and I understood that I was just overthinking about things. Most of us, we just don't come out of this cycle of self-hate. We just are in our own thoughts, lost. If this happens, what will happen? That happens, what will happen? We think that everybody is just after us. They're not going to leave us, but that is never the case. And when I realized it, that everybody is just lost in their own thoughts, they are not really after you. It was such a liberating experience for me that I can speak what I want. It's not that everyone is after me and nobody is going to eat me, and that it's okay if I do some self-love. I don't have to hate myself every time to achieve things. People will accept me as I am, even if I make mistakes. There are few things that I realized in that reflection period, that sometimes you don't have to explain why you took a break. You need to cut off toxic people from your life to protect that energy. You have to set boundaries. I'm 21 years old right now, and it took me 21 years to realize that my self-worth is intrinsic. It is not attached to anything outside me. The thing which I did, comparison to everything, most of our generation does the same thing. Okay, they're constantly doing this, and you are evaluating your worth according to what the other person is. which is totally wrong. Understand that your self-worth is always optimal, and it will always be optimal regardless of what, if you fail or if you win. It is not going to change. Even if others think that it has fallen down, but the truth is, the reality is that it has never fallen down. As long as you know it, it does not matter what others think. So that is one of the key things which helped me realizing my self-worth, and that self-love is so much needed, which I was expecting others to love me, but I had to do it for myself first. And trust me, loving yourself is the hardest thing you will do in your life. That is why the key of being mentally healthy implies that we love yourself, we love ourselves first, and take care of yourself first, and say no to as many things as you can, and don't feel guilty about it. These are the habits that we consciously need to develop. And a healthy lifestyle is actually an interlinked chain that is connecting us to our past and future. So let us pledge today to take good care of our mental and physical health. Thank you, and do take very good care of yourself. Thank you. Yes. Thank you, guys. I hope I did not exceed the time limit. I did not see the timer.
It was in yellow, I think.
Okay, great. I was really scared that today I'll cross the time limit. Okay. I guess Ayub hasn't joined yet.
So I requested Karishma to be the evaluator now, because I think he has some connectivity issues, it seems.
Okay. Yes, Karish, are you there?
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible. Can you please
Yeah,
tell
you're audible.
the speech objectives of Shashank's speech?
Yes, give me a minute. Okay. So Shashank will be attempting his level 4, project 1, handling difficult audience. And the purpose of the speech. The purpose of this project is for members to practice the skills needed to address audience challenges even when he or she presents outside of the Toastmasters Club. Please note, timer, the timing guidelines are 10 to 15 minutes. The title of the speech is YouTube is Essential for E-Learning. I would request the audience, in case you have any questions during the speech of Shashank, please do interrupt and feel free to ask the questions. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmaster Purva.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Karishma. All right. Just a minute. Let me introduce the speaker, Shashank, to you all. Yes. So Shashank is a software professional with 8 years of front-end development experience. He loves to connect the dots when he's working on designs, because he believes that every feature tells a story. And that is what has brought him to Toastmasters, as he wants to develop his speaking and leadership skills to tell a story. All the best for your speech, TM Shashank. Over to you.
Thank you for the wonderful introduction, TM Purva. Before I start my speech, I request TM Tushar to kind of share the deck. Thank you so much. And Tushar, just note that, when I utter my first word of the speech, you can start your timer. Thank you. Thank you so much. How many of you browse YouTube daily? Please, raise your hands. Great. So, how many of you actually spend your time watching music videos or comedy sketches or reels on YouTube, especially? I'm assuming Purva, Tushar, yeah, Arshada, okay, Karishma. Okay, and how many of you use YouTube to educate yourself? Great. Okay. I just have a question for Tushar. So what exactly are you, trying to educate yourself on?
Mostly as a software engineer, so we do search for technical stuffs.
Awesome.
Any problem we face, we need to find solution immediately
True.
instead of going through Stack Overflow.
True.
Yes.
I can relate to you. So with this, I just want to say that YouTube is an essential learning source for you, correct? Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. Today, I want to talk about this topic, whether or not YouTube is actually the best education tool to grow yourself and your business. I believe that it is, and I'll put my points around it. Next slide, please. First of all, YouTube is free to use, right? You don't have to pay for it unless and until you are using YouTube Prime, which gives you ad-free experience. YouTube is a cost-free effective platform where you can watch hours and hours of content. Definitely, there is no charge for that on the user. Secondly, there are tons of videos literally on every topic. As professionals, we need to constantly learn and keep up with the newest trends, technologies, and strategies, as Tushar mentioned. I do understand that it is kind of difficult for us to find the exact topic from the most qualified source on YouTube. So that's why I want to give you some steps where it can help you find your right content. Next slide, please. Assess your goals. What do we mean by that? YouTube gives you endless content options. You can try to find the content for hours together. But we do need to keep in mind our goals and background. For example, I want to make some money, right? I can watch some videos wherein we can see how millionaires hustled. I mean, before they became millionaires, how they hustled, how they struggled, and what made them eventually successful. Or I can try to find investment options in mutual funds or stocks or cryptocurrencies or Bitcoins. To be honest, when I look at realistically, I will definitely look at the personal investment strategies. So I'll try to find channels around mutual funds, stocks, or maybe learn about Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies. That is why I believe that in order to, invest your time on some channel, you need to know the front end and you can analyze the background and then strategically invest your time on it to have specialization on that topic. Next, find channels that correspond to your industry forum. What do we mean by that? Let's take my example. As Purva mentioned about my introduction, I'm a software engineer by profession. I mainly deal with the UI. And to put it in layman terms, I'm more concerned about the user experience and how what is the look and feel of that UI. So for me, when I deal on daily basis, I'm using this technology called React. I'm not sure how many of you are aware of it, but I think most of them are because I see most of the crowd here is software engineering. So what I'll be doing is if I want to find any specific topic, first thing I'll do is I'll sift out from those channels that are teaching the basics of React. I will actually go into those topics that are close to what is being used in my industry or my company. That's how I'll be able to find the channels that correspond to industry forums. Last point is follow specific thought leaders. What do we mean by that? Try to follow a person who is reputable in their space. As a start, look at their background, their company, what different publications they have, and their social media presence. Thought leaders can have large following groups and they can talk about any topic. They can talk about those topics which they excel in depth, and they can be latest in the trend, which can be useful for you in your daily life, right? So these are some of the tips that you can use to find the right channel for your learning. Next slide, please. What are the other advantages of learning?
So Sasank, just to interrupt you, sorry, in the previous slide, I saw that you mentioned one of the biggest advantage of YouTube as free, right? Am I right?
Correct.
So I just want to interrupt you here and say, I think that YouTube being free is actually one of a disadvantage of YouTube, because as it is free, anyone has the capability to upload any type of video on YouTube, right? And
Correct.
because of this, many research have also found that the first exposure to vulgarity in small students is actually YouTube, not
Okay.
being the excessive sites, but YouTube, because as YouTube is free, there is no restriction to watch any video. There is nothing we have to do. Any small 15-16 year kid can watch any of the vulgar video. So this being free is actually, I guess, a disadvantage of YouTube. How will you specify this?
Correct. I do understand from your point of view that when it comes to 15-16 years old, they are teens, and they will try to find content, or they do get exposed to content which can be vulgar, right? Which can happen. For that, I believe sometimes what needs to happen is how are they being exposed to, or what environment they are in, right? I think I answered in a way that let's say parents are around, and they can try to keep a track of what students or these teens are watching, right? They can share a YouTube, I would say, account, for example, because that allows parents to watch the history of what kids are watching, and by that they can keep a track of it. And as far as I think there were two questions here. One is the vulgarity part, which I think again, like, parental controls needs to be there. And when I mean parental controls, there is no feature as such, but one of the solution can be sharing the account. But it can so happen, yes, they can create different accounts, but still I think parenting needs to be there around it. And when it comes to this large amount of content, so I answered it already, saying that there are different content coming out there, but you need to try to find the most valid source for your learning. In that way, probably you can get a better learning out there. And YouTube can also set the baby steps on the content or on the learning that you're trying to achieve, right? There are a lot of paid contents out there, but it so happens sometimes you don't know what you're looking for. You pay the money and you feel it's waste of your subscription or whatever, because you're not getting the right content. But it so happens those content creators are already having their YouTube channels. So try to find the best content creator for you so that you can follow them. And then if you have any advanced learning, they anyways mention it in their YouTube channel that we have these advanced courses in this or that. Like, for example, Udemy, or there is there are other channels as well, right, where you can go and check. So if you really like their content, probably you can pay them, is what I believe. But here what I'm trying to say is, when there is a large mass trying to learn, YouTube becomes a cheaper alternative for them, at least to set their bases straight, the basic foundation. Do you agree with my point of view, Suyog, or you have anything to rebuttal?
Yeah, it kind of makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Also, Shashank, before you proceed, I just remember one video wherein it was a kids video, but in between there was some other videos embedded within that, and that
Okay,
kind of harm the child as well.
correct.
So what do you say?
I do agree. As I said, as I mentioned, we cannot completely control that, unfortunately, at this point of time. But we can keep an eye on the kid as to watch what they're watching. Again, you cannot, also there is a point of view that you cannot continuously keep an eye on them. So it does happen sometimes that they might get exposed to such videos. But from our point of view, what we can do is we can try to at least uh, probably educate from our side. Being a parent, we should tell them, make them aware that if you come across such videos, please tell us, or please share it with us, and we can be more open with them, right? Because what happens is sometimes the kids don't understand. So it's our duty as parents to educate them and tell them that if you're exposed to something harmful, please reach out to us, and we'll be your support, something like that. What do you think?
Got it.
Aditya?
Yes, got it.
Awesome. Okay, I'll continue with my speech here. What are the other advantages? It generates and promotes online discussions. What do we mean by that? E-learning videos are particularly effective for analysis. Before we even start watching a YouTube video, we can get some personal insights through the comments of that video. What did the learners like? What did they dislike about the video? Which concept was beautifully explained, or which concept they did not understand at all? You can also look at some of the links that have been shared by the commenters to get probably a different perspective of the same video. So it gives you a holistic or a 360-degree view of the video, and you completely understand that topic. So that is one of the benefits of having online discussions in YouTube. It is ideal for mobile learning. How many of you use mobiles to watch YouTube video? I'm not even waiting for the answer. I'm sorry, because I know everyone watches videos on YouTube, and mobile is an integral part of our life now. So it means any learner can watch an educational video using a smartphone or tablet. According to an article published on 26th October
Sorry to
2020.
interrupt, Shashank. I just had a doubt that when kids use YouTube for learning, I mean, now at least they have started doing it from a very young age. Don't you think that hampers their, it hampers them from using their own intelligence? Because if you don't know the answer, just click on the YouTube and get the answer. They don't use their brain, and they get used to it. And nowadays, everything, the technology is so addictive. The child cannot process that how it is manipulating it, and it is very anxiety inducing, and that is the result why many kids nowadays have poor deteriorated mental health, and their attention span is so slow, and they can't just use their brain. They are growing more and more dependent. It is totally harmful to their intelligence. Don't you think that this is not, I mean, even if it is replacing the offline teaching, but it is harmful to their intelligence? This is what I really feel. And what do you think about it?
I do agree with you on some parts, but I have to add few points in there. So when we say that kids nowadays are using mobile phones or tablets, we'll say very early, true. But I have a question for you, right? We all are we will say we are 90s kids, correct? And as kids, we watched cartoons growing up, correct? So was that hampering our intelligence? In fact, it helped us in creativity, I believe, right? And the only advantage nowadays, kids, I see toddlers or very young kids, I would say, most of them spend time on tablets or mobile phones watching some cartoon. That's what they do. So
yeah,
I feel
but the
it's
thing
just
is that when we were kids, we had some restricted control, and
correct.
and it is the situation there and now is totally different.
Correct. I agree. But what I was trying to say is that they watch the content on tablet. I mean, it's just a means of watching something in a smaller device. I believe, like, because we can't carry TVs with us now, they can carry something in their hand to watch it. Of course, there needs to be regulation. We need to set some schedule, or we need to make the kid aware, just like our parents, how they made us, let's say, 1 hour for TV, then you do your homework, then you do this and that,
Yeah,
go outside.
that's true. But the thing is, my point is that even they're using the technology, I feel the technology itself can't. My question is on intelligence. That hampers, that is destroying their intelligence. It's not about okay, we should set a time limit. It's like about it is hampering their intelligence, and how can you cope up that? I mean, if you are saying that YouTube is useful for it, I don't think it is really useful. It is not going to serve in the long run. Definitely, I feel. I mean, how would you? I mean, what would
The
you?
point here I am trying to make is that YouTube is a good source for learning. And when we say learning, I'm not sure how it will hamper their intelligence, because when kids have
Yeah,
to
because they
watch.
don't think, right? They just don't think. They don't let their brain cells get burned up. I mean, we as a kids, we had to think a lot. It just does not allow them to think. That is what I'm saying. And if you are not thinking, how are you going to solve life's biggest problems, right? Every time
I agree with Purva also,
you search
because
and
thinking
there is
capacity is
only a
reduced
solution
in
of
at
this
this age.
problem,
Mm-hmm.
I'm about, so it's that. So what do you think about it?
Yeah.
So basically,
So-
problem solving abilities get reduced because the answers are already available on YouTube.
Yes.
Is what
Correct. See, Harshada, Purva, and Shreyas, right? What I'm trying to put forth here is that when we say their thinking capability reduces, and now we have advanced so much, right? And here we are at a stage, even for engineers, we say don't mug up things. Because if there is something available on Google or on YouTube, why do you need to mug up? Solve the real problems, right? And we are an example of a generation where we don't spend so much of time on setting up basic foundation. We already have, let's say, few things ready for us. We are actually solving the problems that are in hand. And in today's generation, even for the kids, when they are spending time on YouTube watching e-learning videos, yes, they might not be having to spend so much of their brain or their intelligence on solving the problems that are already done. They are trying to learn new things which will be the stepping stone for our next generations, right? And I feel that now that is a good way for them to not overburden themselves, because again, if they do overburden themselves on parts, then we have to talk about mental health, all these issues, right? Which is a prevalent issue right now in today's generation, and probably it might be in the next generation as well. So I believe they should have a learning where they don't overburden themselves and live their life happily, solving the real problems. And as far as mobile learning or visual learning is concerned, as I mentioned, it improves their creativity. We might have next generations who are visual problem solvers, right? Because in our generation we were stuck up on notebooks, doing math in our head, or learning complex problems in our head, right? And it doesn't give you, maybe some of them might not be better at visual creativity, right? So I believe that this will boost that, is what I think.
Okay. Yes, I'm convinced with the answer.
Okay.
Yeah, just just a further extension to that question is my just the same question. I wanted to ask that I have two solutions. First is the solution that you say YouTube for self-learning, but why isn't web browsing not a solution to this? Now, for example, you want to search something about React. Instead of watching the whole 10 minutes video, where is that exact point that you need? I can just browse Google the thing that how does React solve this problem, see a blog, even blog has a video on it. Now, why this helps adults as well as the young children is that when you browse on your web, your reading also enhances. You read new words, which is really important nowadays for young students to read. Whereas in YouTube, you just see the video. All you can see use is your eyes. But when you read something, your reading skill also enhances. And as I said, the time also wastes. Instead of watching a 10 minutes video to find a 1 minute important part, you can just browse the web, read the important part, and that's all. So my question to you is, why is web browsing on that same topic not advantageous than YouTube?
Because on web browsing, right, I can relate to it because I'm an engineer, you two are engineer. When we talk about actually finding the topic that you're looking for, it's not learning, because you're already aware of something. You're trying to find a solution out there, because you cannot learn a concept by reading about it for 1 minute, right? Here, the idea that I'm trying to present is, it's the best way of learning, wherein if you're trying to learn something, like for example, cryptocurrency is hot right now, right? Many of them are curious about what cryptocurrency is, what are the different regulations, what is happening. So reading about it for a minute or two won't help me. Yes, of course, there are articles about it, correct? But then, do you understand the nuance for it? Like, I'm a beginner level. So for me, I'll rather go on YouTube, for example, try to browse probably 5 or 6 of the beginner cryptocurrency videos. Out of that, if I know, okay, this content provider matches with what I'm trying to understand, then I can start following that content creator, which eventually leads me to reading about him, about his articles, correct? Because now I know a trustworthy source of of the content that I'm looking for or of the concept that I'm looking for. So I feel for me, for me, or in the sense for the larger masses, what happens is that trying to find that right person would be much more helpful, so that you can read their books or their content creators or or their articles, something like that.
Yeah, sure.
Are you convinced, or you have some other point to put forth?
Yeah, no, that's all.
But Shashank, a lot of times when we are reading, there are no distractions when we are reading anything online. These days, teenagers, kids, or even elders like us have attention span of squirrels.
Correct.
YouTube has a ton of ads. I see myself clicking on the product that gets shown, and they're smart ads. They would understand my personality and accordingly personalize the ads. So they are very well suited. And a bunch of times these YouTube content creators have the agenda of selling their own content or ensuring that you subscribe and everything. That takes my mind off the real content that I want to learn. So would I not prefer reading through one pager that completely explains me thoroughly without any distractions rather than going to a YouTube video?
Yes, that's actually a good point that you have put forth, Harshada. I do agree that nowadays people are having short span of attention to any kind of concept they're trying to learn. And I think it becomes a personal choice, right? As to reading would not be a distraction, especially if you mentioned that I click on ads or watch other videos. It is very much possible that the same person might browse something in couple of minutes, while reading as well, right? Because it so happens, especially I can take my case, when I'm reading something and if there is a new word or a new concept that comes in, which I don't understand from that article, I totally deviate, because I kind of want to understand deeper what is happening, what is that exact concept about. So it leads you to a pathway where you might open 5 to 6 articles, and it might happen that those 5 to 6 articles you are completely out of whack now. Like you started with something and you're on the other end, right? If we are saying that YouTube videos cause distractions, I believe that this can also cause distractions, until and unless maybe you have a physical copy in hand, right? Because I do see people sometimes while reading also they have their music on, or there is a background music going on, and I feel even that kind of hampers your learning, right? So it becomes a personal preference of how you want to learn. If you feel that maybe reading the article will give me a better knowledge, or maybe by reading the article, if you really like the author, and then you say, okay, let me watch if there are any YouTube videos of his, right? Because nowadays every author have their own channel and they're putting out the content there, right? It can happen vice versa as well. And you might find something on YouTube video which is much more easier to understand from the article that was stated there. Because here what happens is, YouTube video is more like a kind of an interaction, right? They are putting forth their thoughts, and much easier for us to understand. Because as human beings, sometimes communicating something is much more easier for us. And I can relate it to my daily tasks as well, where when I'm on Slack channel or anywhere where I'm chatting with the person, I don't understand their intent. But if I have a video call with them, immediately I get to know what they want to convey to us. Similarly, it might happen that their article might not be clear enough for us to what they want to convey to us. But while watching the video, it becomes much more easier for us to understand, like, oh, okay, that was the concept, right? Or, oh, that is what they intend to tell us. So that's why I feel that maybe it can be beneficial on that side. But again, it is up to the person's discretion as well. Like if they prefer reading articles and they completely understand, well and good. But I do feel that having this kind of interaction will help us in better learning, or maybe understanding that topic easily. What do you think, Harshada?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. When you guys say sure, it seems like you're not convinced. But
I see timer getting red, so I'm not
okay.
Excess of time.
Good points put forward.
It's already red, but fine. Okay. Should I move to the next point, or does anyone have any points or any rebuttals or any concerns? Okay. I'll move to the next point. It is ideal for mobile learning. Yeah, as I mentioned, everyone watches YouTube on mobile, and according to the Economic Times article that was published on 26th October 2021, we have 1.18 billion mobile connections, 700 million internet users, and 600 million smartphones. And our user base is increasing 25 million per quarter. Imagine how easy it is to put that content on the YouTube, and it can reach out to millions of users within a very short span of time. You can also share your presentations and invite learners to take an active role through their comments. It will help you deliver quality content and be a better content provider. It allows for micro learning. I'll share a personal anecdote. I studied computer engineering, and maybe a few of them can relate that we have different sorting algorithms, and one of them is quicksort algorithm, which by the name we figured out that it's one of the quickest sorting algorithms. But I do remember that when it was delivered as a lecture by my professor, for an hour or so, it just completely bounced off my head. So I had to reach out my peers and other people from other colleges to understand that concept. But thankfully, in today's world, YouTube allows you to learn complex topic, which has been delivered to you in short segments. Learning through short segments will help you better knowledge retentions. And it also gives the leisure for the audience to watch the videos whenever they like in their own time. And that helps in absorbing the information. Next point, it encourages learners to make YouTube videos. Today, what is the most precious thing in the world? It's not gold, it's not diamond, it's content and data. Every corporate needs your personal information, and every non-corporate entity makes money from the content that they create. Teaching is one part, but improving the visual literacy and creativity of that concept is another part altogether. Commenters can provide necessary feedback to those videos after watching the video, and then it helps the creators deliver better videos to the learners. In conclusion, I feel that YouTube videos are a great learning tool for not only the learners, but also for the content creators. And they are a great source of education for larger masses who are looking for cheaper alternatives of learning concepts. Thank you, everyone. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day, Purva.
Thank you so much, Shashank, for that wonderful speech. I guess we have grilled you a lot for your speech today. And well, you have definitely answered a lot of the rebuttals very well. Yes. Yeah, we had to actually stop because we are running behind the schedule, and because this is a long topic, and it will go on and on if we really have to discuss about it. So we just kept it short, and that is why you might feel that we might not be agreeing, but still we said okay, yes.
No, those were
Although
nice.
yes, yeah. What did you say?
I said those were nice questions.
Yes, I enjoyed the entire process. It was nice.
Thank you.
All right, guys. So we are done with the two speeches, and now we'll move to the evaluation section directly. And soon we will also be starting with the educational session. So first of all, I would like to call my evaluator, TM Suyog, on the virtual dais. Before I do so, let me just introduce him to you all. Suyog Vyas is a software engineer at Persistent Systems Limited. He has quite a passion for music and wants to make people happy by singing songs for them. Yes, he's the singer of a club, and now I would invite him to please give your evaluation for my speech. Over to you, Suyog.
Thank you, Toastmaster Purva, for such a great introduction. My target speaker, Toastmaster Purva, gave great insights today in her speech about why you need to take care of your mental health right now, which is really an important topic in our life. I have some recommendations and commendations for her in her speech, which will really help her in future. Some of my recommendations I'll be starting with are: first, Toastmaster Purva said that Toastmasters community really helped her in achieving the particular goal of hers. But I recommend you to give some of more practical scenarios, like how Toastmasters helped her in achieving her goal. When you say that something has helped you in any of the tasks, what you should do is tell a practical scenario. Like, for example, when you came to the Toastmasters club, any of a particular day when you felt that this community is actually right for you to achieve the goal which you are finding for. When you tell your practical thing, the audience really relates with it, and it's really easy for the audience to understand what you're actually trying to say. Second recommendation is summarize your solutions in conclusions. Now, your speech has a lot of solutions for dealing with this problem of mental health. But when there are a lot of solutions, the audience can get really confused in what you are trying to say. So one small trick, what you can do is, in your conclusions, write 2 or 3 solutions that you find are the most suitable. And when you conclude, you can say that, so in my conclusion, these are the solutions that I present to you. So this can be take away for the audience. For example, the audience who have not seen your speech from the start, only by referring to the conclusion, they can get the whole extraction of your speech. So this is a recommendation. The third recommendation is for your delivery style. I think today you were a little fast paced relating to your speech right now. Your speech was more towards on an emotional side. So when the speech is towards on an emotional side, what you need to do is take some pauses, because when emotional statements are really high to digest, the audience needs some time to actually grasp what you are trying to say. So when you say a statement, try to take some pause, let the audience digest what you are trying to say, and then continue with your second sentence. So pauses is one of the main factor in these types of speech that I would recommend to implement in the next in your next thing. Second, one more recommendation is look in the camera. As DTM Ushal in last meeting said, don't look at the screen right now as I am looking at the screen. Try to look at the camera. I know it blinks, it's a trouble for us, but you can try actually. As being a speaker, you can also try. This shows that you are actually having an eye contact with the audience. So looking at the camera really helps. And third, the very important recommendation is give your speech while standing. So as a speaker, we always do that. We give our speech when we are standing. Even we give evaluations while standing. Apologies from my side to that. But whenever you give your next speech, try to stand and give your speech. This will enhance your hand gestures, your body language, your facial expressions, everything. Some recommendations from my side are you used your personal story, which was really great, touching, connected to the audience. You had a strong call of action in your conclusion. That was really great. Every speech needs that. You had no nervousness in your speech today. You had a great fluency in language. So one of the challenge I would like to place in front of you is pauses. In your next speech, try to take more and more pauses, and you are really good to go. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Suyo. Yeah, today I was so emotional. I just wanted to, let out things. बिल्कुल मन की बात ही बोलनी है, and that is I just went in the flow. I just forgot that you have to give a proper speech, and it's you have to structure it. But yes, I'll definitely work on the recommendations you gave. Thank you for your evaluation. All right, now let's move ahead with the evaluation of second speech by TM Seshank. And to evaluate him, we have TM Karishma. Let me introduce TM Karishma to you all. Okay, just a minute. Yes, Karishma Gundial is a chartered accountant by profession, and she's working with Credit Suisse and is passionate about painting, trekking, reading, and teaching. Yes. Can we have Karishma on the spotlight?
Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Is there any background noise?
Yeah, there is a
Okay, close the door. Sorry, and thank you for your patience. Yes, I'll begin with my evaluation. So let me clarify. As an evaluator, my objectives was how Shashank deals with the audience. My speech objective was not about the speech that Shashank delivers, but about how he engages with the audience or how he deals. So a big part, Shashank, congratulations, you have achieved your objectives. Considering the the rebuttals that you were getting, those were quite tough, and yet we know that those are tough questions that you might be getting. So good job on that. I really appreciate how you managed to tackle the situations about like complex content that we like to learn. Even I believe that um, like once we read, because there is a lot of things that we read, why we are going on YouTube is just we have the visual and the audio content, which increases another, you can easily relate to it rather than understanding things. So good part that you enhance. And about parental controls for the kids, I think the mostly the rebuttals were on about kids, how kids are using on YouTube rather than the people adults like us, who are actually benefiting. But yes, there are parental controls. Only the thing is parents need to implement that. The only that I think pay on that part. But your focus on each and every questions that you are getting, you were quite handling it very well, so you achieved your objectives. One recommendation, similarly, you could have, the topic is so vast, you could have stand and delivered, and since you are on laptop, you could have easily achieved that. You have done that before. I thought you would continue it. I don't see that you have some issues on that. Regarding the content and time management, I felt there were some two stretches, like you were stretching, you could have easily one or two put sentences and went forward, because most of the time were covered in mainly understanding them. Personal stories, yes, those were added and those are sometimes required, but in such a generic topic, those can be quite well managed. Another thing, regarding your content or speech, it was mainly about the free content and mass audience, right? I felt that was repetition quite a lot of time. That could cut short, and you could have well managed your time with all the rebuttals or your engagement with the audience. That went well, but speech content could be reduced so that you can allocate that time to the audience. So this is how you can manage your time, I think. Yes, we need to have at least on the time. I guess you went over time. Tushar, can you just remind me the time?
It's 28 minutes, almost 29
28,
minutes.
29 minutes, and
Yes.
your timing was around 10 to 15 minutes. So I just want you to allocate. It's not by marginal difference over time, but it's a quite big difference. So understand that and be well prepared. And also, this is a skill that maybe you can, if you want, you can try to repeat, cut short on your rebuttal as well. Or maybe you can see since everyone was quite active in asking you questions, or maybe the topic even you inculcated, you even gave a thread to them and they started pulling it. So in that case, you, as your speech objectives, you can learn to tackle those as well. But overall, a good speech, um, the objective is met, but only recommendation how you manage time. And make your content more crisp. Your video should be, since attention span is less, even you need to apply to your content as well. Over to you, Purva. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Karishma, for that wonderful evaluation. And today I would just like to speak in the favor of Shashank. Actually, Tushar had messaged me. By the time it was red card 15 minutes, he told that should I interrupt Shashank? But I told him to not interrupt, because the project itself was dealing with interruptions, and I wanted to grill him a lot today, and that is why I decided, chalo, let us go on with this, and we had time today, so that is why I allowed
it to go a bit over time. As long as the speech objective, you need to properly do the project. So if it takes more time, it's okay, because the audience itself was so into it. No, I have to grill him, so I need to give justice to the audience as well. So
That's why even I didn't say I'll answer it later. I was like, anyways, today we have some time, so I just went ahead with it.
yes, but the thing is that I feel Shashank, you could have you explained in a lot detail that could have been cut short somewhere.
Agreed.
Although it was interesting, it is a nice feeling to grill sometime.
I need to work on it. Yeah.
Yes. All right, guys. Yes, so we are done with the prepared speeches section and evaluation section. And now let me just quickly launch the polls so that you all can vote. Let me take the co-host permissions from Shashank. Okay. All right. Just a minute. Okay, today we are qualifying everyone, okay? दो ही लोग हैं यार क्या आप? So
No.
okay, I'm launching. Can you all see the polls?
Yes.
Yes, please do vote. Come on, guys. 8% के वोट से स्पीकर और इवैल्यूएटर का डेस्टिनी चेंज हो सकता है. So just please, everyone, please vote. Shashank, don't vote for yourself.
We'll ask you and vote.
Okay, just one more person is left. Can you please just vote? Guys, it can really change the results, okay? So your vote matters a lot. So I'm waiting 2 more minutes.
Everyone is winner.
That's good one.
Yes.
Correct.
हाँ सब हमारी क्लब के हैं, so if you win or I win, it's the same.
Joining at this time is actually a win in itself.
Yes, true. Okay, done. All the participants have voted. Oh yes, I knew it. Just one vote and it made all the difference. I'm ending
told
the
you.
and well, okay, I'll share the results. Okay, before it was like 6 people had voted. I was the best speaker, and just with one person's vote, it was Shashank. So congratulations, Shashank, for getting the best speaker award for today's meeting.
Thank you.
I mean, he's repeating the project for the second time, and I could see the efforts as well. He has taken a lot of efforts in it, well deserved.
Thank
Yes.
you. And last time there were no interruptions at all. And this time we had so many interruptions, but I'm happy that.
Last time we didn't know about this interruption.
Yes.
Yeah. And I felt a bit strange to deliver the same speech again. But okay, I think only Tushar and Purva were repeating, the rest all were new. So good. Thank you.
But nice topic, so
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I was going to search for something complex, but I was talking to some people and said find something easier so that people can relate.
So if it gets too
Correct.
complex, then the audience itself
Correct.
might think कि अब क्या पूछूं मैं इनसे करके. So
Correct.
we need to digest it.
And this is a topic that there are less points to oppose you on this, because let's be honest, everyone uses YouTube right now.
Yes, true.
But
Right.
no, I mean the points were really good. Like yeah, I mean especially Suyog, Harshada, Purva, Tushar, like all these, the points were really good. I was trying to search kya bolu, which will convince. I think that's why I explained a lot. I took a lot of time to explain. But yeah, enjoyed the project.
Yeah, maybe someday we'll also have one more such session of interruption. It will be really nice, I guess. It's nice project.
Yeah, and this is real life. So yeah, it
Yes.
happens.
All right. Now let's go ahead with the best evaluator
Arre,
and
Purva, I was saying the same thing. We
yes.
left best evaluator.
I
he
just
was
thought,
sitting.
you know what, I
Yeah.
thought that maybe Suyog did not win his, so he's just trying to interrupt and talk about some different topic.
No, it's not like that. No.
Yes.
I
Okay.
told you, I predicted already. You can see my message.
Yes. Okay. Congratulations, Karishma, on being the best evaluator for today's meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. We'll soon share the certificates at the end of the day. All right. So that's it for the prepared speeches section, and we'll soon start with the educational session. The speaker is just joining in 5 minutes. And till then, let me take the feedback from our guest for the
Purva,
meeting now.
picture या बाद में लेना.
अच्छा, बाद में ले लेते हैं.
Okay.
Or maybe I'll also take the feedback at the end of the session of educational session.
ठीक है.
Till
Are
then,
we having a break or just informal chit chat?
informal chit chat. Yes, Karishma, so you have joined after
long, almost more than 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah.
2 or 3 weeks,
2
and we
weeks,
all missed you a lot. I missed
Even
you.
I was missing. Some of the other things, I just want to relax. I just need a break, big break. Again, go to a Northeast trip. Let's see.
Yes.
Let's see. I had a quite hectic schedule.
Yeah, I guess everyone has an hectic schedule, and also Shreyas also had a wedding and he has joined.
Hey, hi
today.
Shreyas, how are you? So, did your wife allow you to join meeting?
Hi Karishma, I'm fine. Yeah, she's somewhat busy
It was
with
your
work.
wedding, or what?
Yeah. See, Shreyas,
Yeah.
we
Oh,
want
congratulations.
pedas. Yeah.
Thank
We
you,
want at
thank you.
least pedas. You can dunzo us.
Yes, sure.
I thought he'll give us a feast or something. पेड़ा क्या है मतलब?
Now I'm in Solapur. Maybe I will work up to 6 months here only because I have taken work from home.
Oh, nice man.
Nice.
Great.
Yeah, thank you
Okay,
for
Let's plan some catch up in Pune. At least those who are in Pune, we can have some, meeting.
Yes, sure.
Are we
Use
planning,
11
in-house?
No, not meeting, not Toastmasters meeting, just a casual catch up.
Outing.
Outing or maybe some snack, or maybe we can plan
Yeah.
either breakfast or lunch. Let's see.
For those who are not from Pune, they should just watch your photos, right?
Yeah.
meeting
You
you.
can order from Swiggy and eat with us
Online.
We'll do a video call.
online. Yeah, we'll have a video calls. Maybe we
Yeah,
can
I
plan.
guess last year I had, been there in Pune. I came to Pune on 22 February 2020.
Yeah, you guys had a meet, right?
Yes, और एक दिन में ही चली गई थी वापस. So we had this
दिखाई करने
meet.
आई थी.
हाँ
मुंह दिखाई करने आई थी तो.
हाँ मुंह दिखाई करने आई थी मैं. Yes. तो बस 3
There's a great cafe outside that Mangal Murti complex. Wow, मस्त कॉफी वगैरह मिलती है.
Okay.
It's good. अपना वेन्यू है ना वो, मतलब
हाँ.
it was.
Okay. I have not been there to the venue and uske bahar ka,
Right,
bas
right.
just outside dekha hai.
Okay, guys, our
I guess only Dyaneshwar and I.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey Sanjay, can you hear me?
Hey, hi Purva. Yes, I can hear you. I'm clearly audible and visible.
Yes, you're clearly audible and visible. Thanks for joining.
Thank
And
you so much.
with the educational session, before that, let me just introduce you all, TM Sanjay. Just let me know, Sanjay, are you a DTM or?
Not yet, not yet.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, and TM Sanjay R has a really long list of achievements, but since we are running short of time, so I'll keep it short. TM Sanjay R is a passionate public speaker. He has won several speaking competitions and delivered over 25 educational sessions on topics ranging from impromptu speaking to better evaluating, and has inspired hundreds. He believes that communication is the key to improving people's skills, which can do wonders. He has coached over 50 plus members through a self curated training journey spanning over 30 hours of interactive learning and helped them transform into a better speaker. Besides working with Mahindra and Mahindra and the digital and telematics teams, he is an avid biker who loves networking and traveling to explore new places. And on top of that, I would just like to add one of my personal experience that I have not listened to TM Sanjay R. I mean, I've just seen him once in a particular town hall meeting, and let me tell you, I was so impressed with his speaking skills. He's to the point, exact, and his delivery style is also amazing. I felt that I want to talk to him, and just 2 or 3 days later I got the chance to talk to him about a particular hall of fame award. So I'm really since then I'm really I was thinking that someday maybe if he takes an educational session in our club, it would be a really great thing to see. And today is that day. So thanks, Sanjay, for joining in, and over to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for those kind words. It it makes me feel better because I'm obviously put under a lot of pressure to speak, but it's great. And I'm glad we had that introduction. Otherwise, it would have been a table topic for me. The moment I joined the meeting here, you go ahead, start, and great. Just a quick question before I begin: are people also watching this live? Because I see we are streaming it live.
Yes.
Okay, great. So everyone who's watching it live, hello. You may not be able to interact, but I'll make sure that this session is as useful to you as to everyone in this meeting. It's good to see that we have almost 9-10 of us here to witness on how do we prepare for table topics. Well, with the contest season around the corner, the one thing that I absolutely dislike today is I don't get to contest naturally, or not really by choice but by force. I don't get to contest, but I'm really happy that all of you have the chance to contest in table topics. Now, as complicated as it may sound, or as difficult as it may seem when we start attempting table topics at a club meeting, well, how many of you remember the first time you delivered a table topics at a club speech? Just raise your hand. You don't have to speak, but yeah. Yes, I know that a lot of you remember that I remember the first time I spoke on a table topic speech, and some of us do not want to remember that because it may not have been the best. We may not have spoken even for a minute. We may have something of this sort and then would have just told sorry and walked off. Or we may have spoken something completely off topic. Now, table topics is something that gives jitters to a lot of members even today. Not everyone loves it that well, or not everyone wants to be put under the spotlight or under the pressure of speaking in an impromptu situation. Now, before I jump into the tips and tricks of how we can all improve or work on our table topic speaking skills, here's a quick point I'd like to share. Table topics in entirety or in the context of Toastmasters is way more valuable than just the 2 minutes we spend speaking in a club meeting or at a contest. Every situation in your life, if you ask me, is a table topic. You are, sitting in a meeting at work, and suddenly there's a question that you don't expect. You have no idea what to respond. There are two things you do. One is, what do I speak? And some of us don't speak. The others manage to go ahead and we get through that situation. That's one. Second, there are multiple other situations. You meet unknown people, they strike a conversation, there's a small talk happening. You don't prepare for it. None of us take notes to such a meeting or to such an instance. Well, right now, if I ask one of you to come up and share your experience of how things have been, that's a table topic. You have no idea. And in general, in life, most of the communication scenarios we are put into, most of the times when we are asked to speak, we don't have the provision or the luxury to go back and to prepare. You can't do that, right? If your manager asks you a question all of a sudden in a meeting, you can't say, sir, give me one day, I will just go make notes, prepare, come back and deliver. We can't do that. Or even, if you have your own business, you meet someone, you're meeting, say, an investor, you're meeting customers. You can't buy time. You can't tell them that, hey, give me some time, I will go, I will write down, prepare, rehearse, draft, redraft, and come back. Now, that is when it's important we think on our feet. It's said that we need to think on our feet because you're actually on your feet and running when table topics happen. How do you prepare for table topics? Sounds strange, right? Something that is unprepared, but how do you prepare for table topics? And here's where I'd like to talk about 4 important skills, things you might have already heard. However, I will detail this further and give you very simple instances of how we can prepare. The first skill is listening. Now, listening is absolutely essential to be able to speak in any situation, not just for a table topic. And when I say listening, let's add a slash and let's also write observing. Listening and observing in any situation ensures that we are able to speak well. How? Let's have a look. Now, let's go back to the same scenario. You're sitting in an office meeting or you're meeting people for the first time. If you don't listen or observe to what's happening, and if it's an office meeting, a lot of times we are not present in the moment. And if we are absent-minded, if we don't listen to the discussion, we will end up asking this question. Sorry, can you repeat what the question was? Or we will tell, okay, what is the context? We may not know the context. So listening, number 1, helps us stay within the context of what's happening. And observing in general helps us understand a lot of things. So when you typically go for an interview also, it's absolutely necessary that you listen carefully. Yesterday, I was attending an interview yesterday. I'd not like to disclose what that is, but when I was attending an interview, there was a listening test as such to say. Now, if we don't listen carefully, it may backfire because it's an absolute important skill even otherwise. And here's where I'd like to sort of extrapolate it a little further. How many of us listen and observe things even outside? Not in a Toastmasters meeting, not in your office, but in general. When you're traveling to work, when you're traveling for leisure, when you're moving, watching a movie, when you're hanging around with friends, when you visit the zoo, when you visit the park, how many of us observe things? Why this is important is in that impromptu situation, only when you listen and observe throughout, you will be able to make a connection. The next skill I talk about will give you an example of this. But a lot of great speakers, if you see, they are not doing magic on stage. They are just able to get the right story. It's only about connecting the dots with the topic, with the context, bring in the right story. Now, where does this story come from? They have experienced it, right? So it is about experience. Now, when I say listen, observe, let's put another slash. Let's say you either listen or observe or experience things as we go along. Suddenly, if I talk about slow and steady wins the race, there is someone who will come up and tell that, as a child, I was not able to run because I didn't know how to stand. But I learned how to stand, I learned how to walk, and today I'm able to run. So slow and steady wins the race. Now, this is not rocket science, obviously. This is no theorem or no sort of calculation that you have to do. It's a story, it is your observation. For example, slow and steady wins the race. If you were to ask me about this topic, I would take the instance of my neighbor. So there's a kid in my neighborhood who does something that's very amazing and very peculiar. So, this person will fall again and again or slowly and steadily try walking. But 6 months later, this person's able to walk. Now, because I possibly observed or experienced or witnessed what happened, I was able to bring this up. So the first important thing is let us listen, observe, and experience. And when we do that, let's be a little more cautious rather than being a little absent-minded in general, because that's where the stories are going to come from. We'll connect this further, and in the end, it'll all make perfect sense. So listening is the first one. Second one is thinking. And if you ask me, this is where the devil in table topics is. The moment a topic is thrown, either we don't think at all or we overthink. Yeah, either we are not able to think at all. We are, what do I speak, and we go blank. It happens with a lot of us. You don't know what instance to pick. Or on the other hand, if the topic is simple or if the topic is relatable, we overthink to such an extent where we have multiple thoughts in our mind and we don't know which one to pick. So the second important skill or thing we need to focus on in table topics is thinking. Now here's where I'll connect back. What will you think? What are the possible things you can think of? What are the possible things you can recollect? It is the things you've listened, it is the things you've observed, and it is the things you've experienced. It's all of the stories that you have within you. You don't have to go outside. Well, reading books helps, but it's not necessary for all of you to read books to have those stories. Go back through your life journey, right? For the 18, 20, 25, 30 years that you have lived, and you will see that there are millions of stories that you have. It's just for you to connect it. And here's where I'd like to do a little sort of an imagination activity with all of you. And think, don't answer, just think. All of us know what sports are. There are multiple sports. Yes. So let's draw a huge circle, yeah, to the size of the screen that I see here. And let's write, say, sports, or this circle is sports. Now, which is your favorite sport? Just think, don't have to answer to me. Okay, let's say it's cricket, football, hockey, tennis, anything at all. Draw another circle. In that bigger circle of sports, draw a smaller circle, which is cricket. Or I'll pick cricket, for example, since that's, a very common sport, with IPL also being the buzz at the moment. In cricket, which cricket team do you like? Let's say I will say the Indian cricket team. So I draw another circle there. In the Indian cricket team, let me draw another circle. Who's my favorite player? I will say possibly talk about MS Dhoni. I draw another circle. What do I like about MS Dhoni? It's his maybe leadership abilities, about how he's cool as a captain. Someone else might talk about MS Dhoni being so cool with his car and bike collection. The whole idea. Now you see how we've narrowed down. We started here, right? This is sports. From sports, we've come to cricket. Cricket, we've come to the Indian cricket team. We've come to Dhoni. We've come to his characteristics. Someone else might have thought football. So sports, football, maybe Manchester United or maybe Chelsea. And then you talk about your favorite football player. What do you like about that player? This is how you narrow down. So the moment a topic or a situation is thrown, don't think just to go there. Narrow it down to that approach. And how is that going to happen? One, when we are able to go back to that story. Now, why am I talking about MS Dhoni? That's because I've seen him play. That's because I admire the way he plays. Similarly, you as an individual may have your own likings, your personal preferences of anything and everything. If I ask, what is your favorite food? I may say one item, you may say the other item. Now, this is a one-word answer, but we'll look at how we sort of elaborate this further. Yeah. So it's important we understand and realize this fact that there is no universal answer to any table topic. The moment the table topic is honesty is the best policy, not all 5 people will give the same stories. Everyone will give their version. Someone will talk about, a watchman in their society who was honest all his life and he earned good rewards. Someone will talk about their grandfather or grandmother who was honest. Someone will talk about themselves, that I am honest and it's helping me grow. The whole idea is we have our own stories and they are very specific to us. Now, connecting this to thinking. When we think as individuals, we are only able to think if we have these stories. If we don't have these stories, if we don't listen, if we don't observe, we may not be able to do that. So first, let's listen, let's observe, let's experience. That's where we will be able to think. Now, when we are thinking in the moment, let's say the table topic is given and we are thinking, there could be multiple thoughts in our head. There could be 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 thoughts right now. And that's natural. Let's understand and let's face it. It's natural, not just in speaking, in every situation. Well, today is Sunday. How many of you are waiting to have lunch? If it's something special, you may be thinking right now that I'm going to get to have good biryani in the afternoon. Someone else might be thinking that, okay, afternoon, I'm going to go outside with my friends and I'm going to go watch this movie. Someone might be thinking, it's time for me after the Sinhgad meeting is over, I'll just go back and take a nap. The idea is we are thinking throughout, and let's face it, we can't say that everyone is focusing here 100%. Not just here, anywhere it happens. So we think of multiple things, right? It's important in that given instance, we connect what is the most relevant to the topic. And here's where I'll give a very simple analogy. Now, considering that all of us are, all of us are familiar with the geography of Pune, since we are talking about, a club that is in Pune, Sinhgad, how many of you have traveled from Pune to Mumbai? Yes, almost all of us, or we at least know that there's a possible route for us to go from Pune to Mumbai. Now, is there just one way or are there multiple ways? There are multiple ways?
Yeah, multiple.
And let me list out the possible ones. So if you're going by road, you can choose the old highway or the new highway. If you're going by rail, you can choose multiple train options. There are flights also running. While most people prefer, there are people who take flights to go from Pune to Mumbai. You can also walk. Yeah, if you're a, say a marathon runner, or if you like to walk, you can also walk. Now, there is possibly not a sea route, but there are 4 or 5 options we've seen so far. Now, let's say Suyog goes by train, Purva goes by, the old highway, Karishma goes by the new highway. The others, we all decide to, say take a plane or something. What is our destination in the end? Mumbai. We will get to Mumbai no matter what. Yes, if Mumbai is our destination, we will get to Mumbai and we will go there, irrespective of the route that you take. Now, when you are speaking in a table topic, this is an analogy that I want all of you to draw, that fix a goal like Mumbai, like Mahabaleshwar, like Lonavala, like going to Bangalore, like going to Delhi, anywhere at all, but fix that goal and go in that direction. Now, if you don't fix that goal, let's take an example that it's a group of friends. We don't decide a destination and we say, let's go where the road takes us. You have no direction. You will go wherever the road takes you, right? And then that's where, someone will say, there are 5 friends. One person will say, hey, let's go right. Someone will say, hey, no, let's go left. The moment you reach a junction, everyone will end up fighting. Now, that's what happens in your mind in table topics. You don't have a destination. So your thoughts are fighting with each other. One thought is saying, no, pick this story, it's better. One thought is saying, no, talk about your school friend. One person saying, no, talk about your college professor. Another thought is saying, talk about your neighbor. Which one will you pick? And that's where I ask all of you to take a relevance test. I know I'm talking about very, very huge concepts when I say, but it works. When you are speaking, a topic is thrown, think of what is most relevant. Relevant to what? Relevant to the topic that is given, relevant to the audience, relevant to the situation. Yes. Now, at the moment, if let's say in the table topic, the choice is beggars are not choosers. Will I talk about a beggar? Not necessarily. Will I talk about a chooser? Not necessarily. If I have to relate it, bring that relevance to the present situation, then I will say that I don't want to attend online meetings, but I have to because beggars are not choosers. You see, it's relevant. People will connect instantly. So remember that relevance to the topic, relevance to the audience, relevance to the situation, relevance to what's happening around are the prime and the most important things we all need to keep in mind. Yeah, makes sense? Yes. So we were talking on the thinking element. We discussed listening. We're talking about thinking. Now, when I say thinking, I've given all of you a cue that we need to fix the goal. We need to have a goal post, a destination, and move ahead in that direction. And here's a question I'd like to address. A lot of you have this thought. Should I pick the first thought that comes to my mind or the second thought? And then I've seen people do that. Some people will say, no, I will not pick the first thought because it may be random. It may be trash. Some of you will say, no, the first thought is the best thought. There's nothing of that sort. It is whatever you are able to do in that moment. I am talking to you for 20 minutes about this, or let's say for the last 5 minutes, I'm harping on this entire thinking. You don't even have 5 seconds in that situation. So remember, it's not about what I say, it's about what works for you in that instance, in that moment. That situation, what works for you is the best. And that is what you need to keep in mind. Having discussed listening, having discussed thinking, let's move further to the organizing part. And let's assume that all of you understood the listening part, the observing part, the experiential part. Thinking, all of you understood to a certain extent that yes, there are multiple thoughts. I need to think of what is most relevant to the topic, most relevant to the audience, most relevant to the situation. And then I move further. So listening, thinking, now comes part 3, which is organizing. And trust me, this is a very, very fun thing in table topics. I'll tell you why. Let's assume that all of us have listened to the topic clearly and we've done all of our listening, observing, experiencing part in the past, and we are great and ready with what to do. Second thing is thinking during the topic. When the topic is given, we've thought, we are ready. Now comes the very interesting part, which is organizing. Will you organize or will you speak? What will you do when you are given that table topic?
We'll speak, and slowly as we proceed, we'll organize.
Yeah, you see, it's very risky, right? For all of those, who drive a two-wheeler or a car, there is a basic rule. The ground zero or zero rule is never accelerate while braking. Correct? You first time you learn how to drive an Activa or a car, the instructor will teach you. Never accelerate while braking. It was written also, I remember earlier in the Activas, that never accelerate while braking. And some of you may have tried it also. You know what happens. It is just like doing that. You're speaking and organizing, speaking, thinking, organizing. You see the loop, it's very, very complicated. You're speaking, you're thinking, and you're organizing all at the same time. Now, that is where we need to understand that it may become complicated in an impromptu situation. Well, in a prepared situation, you don't have to organize. You've already done that in your draft. You've already written down that, okay, I'm going to talk about 5 points. Here's the order. You just have to think, recollect, and speak. It's over. You don't have to do the organizing bit. But in a table topic situation, all of you have to organize also. Right there in the moment. Now, here's where I'm going to share some techniques most of you would already know. But there's something called an opening, a body, and a conclusion. In every speech that we present, there's an opening, there's a body, there's a conclusion. I'll not talk much about it, but I'll give you 3 other techniques that you can follow. One is called a prep. This is also something a lot of you might have heard. People who've done table topics earlier, people who delivered speeches earlier. So most table topics, at least specific to the contest, are going to be topics where you can make a point or where you can opinionate or share your opinion. So the prep, or recently I heard someone calling it Oreo. I said sounds good for people who like the technique. So there's opinion, reason, example, and opinion. Let's say the topic is honesty is the best policy. What is your opinion? I think honesty is the best policy. Reason, why? Why do you think it is so? So I think so because, share your reason. Then give an example that, there was this person whom I met, or I read this story, or I watched this movie, and in the end, conclude with your opinion again. It's the same with prep. Make your point, reason out, example, and then conclude with a point. So these are 2 other techniques that are commonly used. Again, I'm giving like a big disclaimer. You don't have to sit and do all of this when the table topics is going on. But get into this frame of mind now that yes, I can use these organizing techniques. And as you speak, try and go in that flow. Don't sit there thinking that, okay, what is the reason? What is the example? Remember, it's not a template. You don't have to draw and fit it right there. There is no connection, no marks for doing all of this. Yeah, all of this is the back end. Yes. And then that's how it is, right? In most situations, people mostly want to appreciate all of the things that you've done. And I'll give you an example. Right now, I'm sitting all dressed, in white, shining, everything. I have a virtual background. If I put my virtual background off, and if I probably stand up, and if I'm not wearing a formal pant with, a belt and everything, and if I'm wearing a pajama, all of you will say, what is this? People only see the output. People don't see all of the background. Similarly, all of this back end that I'm talking about, doing this organizing stuff and everything is only for you. It has nothing to do with your listeners. It has nothing to do with the contest, with the judges, so on and so forth. So that is important for us to understand. Now, moving further, the third and the most important technique that I'd like to share with all of you is something called a 3T. And this is to start off with, for beginners who want to attempt table topics. The 3T technique. First T, tell them what you are going to tell them. And it works in general in any situation, not just a table topic. First T is tell them what you are going to tell them. The second T, tell them what you are, tell them. Second T is tell them. Just go ahead and tell them what you have. Third T, tell them what you have just told them. Now, this is what most speakers do, right? This is what most education session speakers also do. They'll come back and they'll say, good morning, everyone. Today, I'm going to talk to all of you about how do you organize your speech. And we're going to discuss 4 different elements. So this is the first T. Tell them what you're going to tell them. Second T, actually tell them. So now this person will go about talking. There are multiple ways, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, the entire content. And then in the end, this person will also summarize. And I'm doing something similar. I told all of you I'm going to share tips about table topics and we're going to discuss 4 skills. Now I'm telling all of you the listening, thinking, organizing, and the 4th one. In the end, I'm going to come back and tell that, this is what we discussed today. Thank you so much. I hope all of you understand. So it's like a opening body conclusion, but in a little simpler manner to understand, the 3T technique. Now, all of this can be used when you practice table topics. And I'll talk about how do you practice all of these table topics. So that's where the organizing bit is important. You organize what you have to speak. And remember, it's always examples, personal stories, the anecdotes, instances that connect well with people. No one wants to listen, on a topic like you can do it. No one wants to listen to me and come and tell all of you for 2 minutes that yes, all of you can do it. What happens if you fail? Yes, everyone can do it. It's just gyan after all. There is no substance, right? I can keep going on for 2-3 minutes saying, it's okay if you fail, don't give up, go ahead and do it. But the moment I share a story, I come back and I share a very, very emotional story. Say, I love table topics, but I failed at one contest and I failed so bad that I got second place. So then everyone feels, that is so close. So everyone's able to relate. Or I'll talk about failing in engineering, or someone will talk about a heartbreak. The whole idea is all of these examples, these instances connect with people. Remember, there is no space for gyan in table topics. It cannot be just purely motivation. There have to be stories. There have to be personal stories. There can be facts also. There can be facts. So there are some people who give amazing table topics by using some funny facts. They go ahead, they add some facts. Now you don't have the time to go research those facts and come back. It's just a matter of coincidence if you remember. It's just a matter of whether you can connect and remember and link it to your first thing that you've done. Listened, observed, read, experienced, done everything in the past. So that is important for us to understand as a skill. So there's listening, there's thinking, there's organizing. And then there's the fourth part. That is delivery. Very simple, right? You've listened, you've thought, you've organized, just deliver your table topics and move on. Now, delivery has a lot of other aspects of body language, voice modulation, and how you sort of use the words, whether you're enabling your audience to picture what you speak, but I'll save that for another day. For anyone who wishes to participate in a table topics contest or get rid of this fear of speaking impromptu in any situation, the first three are the most important. Because delivery will come with practice. I can't, do that right now. I mean, obviously the entire element comes with practice, but let's work on the delivery after we are good with the content. So there are two parts to table topics, the content and the delivery. And then if you look at the ballot majorly, the way the ballot looks, it's largely on the content. And then the delivery is there, but let's focus on the content because content is difficult. It's difficult for us to finalize what to speak. How do you speak, what language to use, what voice modulation can come in later. It's not mandatory to have all of this done when you start speaking, but let's work on this. So here are a few things that I wanted to share. I'll be sharing 2 more instances before I close. One, at times we get a lot of topics that are very simple. Yes, and we get confused. How do I speak for 2 minutes? This is a common question. How do I speak for even 1 minute? And like I said, the example of what is your favorite food? So example, Karishma, what's your favorite food?
Chinese.
There you go. 2 seconds. What will you speak for 2 minutes? Now, this is where a technique, and typically you won't have a topic like this in a table topic session. Yeah. Typically you won't get such topics which have 1-word answers. In case you have a topic where you don't have the content, that's where there is a very nice example that I give to people, which is about a cow. Now, a lot of you will think, how does a cow come in here? And let's do a small experiment, another 2 minutes. So all of you, and then all of you give me 1 point about cow. Everyone, just 1 point, nothing more.
Okay, cow is an animal which gives milk.
Done. You've given 2 points. Cow is an animal, cow gives milk. Karishma.
You worship cow.
You worship cow. Great. Dyaneshwar, what do you have to say about cow?
Cow is the god of all the gods.
Okay, great. Cow is the god of all the gods. Interesting. Others, Tushar, Suyog, anyone, any point on cow?
The life of farmer is somehow dependent on cow also.
Okay, the life of farmers is dependent on cows. Others?
Cow's milk is good for child brain development.
Done. Cow's milk is good for child brain development. Reshma, Tushar, and
I would say big in size.
Okay, big in size. Okay, great.
Cow
Any other point?
Greenhouse effect.
Sorry, cows?
Cows cause greenhouse effect, which leads to global warming.
Okay, cows cause greenhouse effect, which leads to global warming. Very interesting. Now, let me put all of this together and give a table topic speech. So I'll start from where Purva said, Purva said cow is an animal, cow gives milk. Karishma said that cow is worshipped and cow is a god of all the gods. The cow is huge in size. It's a four-legged animal. And then I think someone said the cow is the reason behind the greenhouse gas effect, so on, so forth, so on, so forth. I'll finish. I will still manage to speak for a minute and a half. So this is one way of doing it, where, all of you in that instance, let's say you have to talk about a cow. You will talk about a cow like this for 1 minute. Now let me just give a very, very fancy version of how I will talk about a cow. On a Sunday morning, I went to a park with my mother, and at a far distance, there was a tree, a beautiful big banyan tree. To the tree was tied a four-legged animal. And I asked my mother, "What is that, Mom?" And my mom said, "Do you remember we drink milk every day at home? Well, thanks to the cow." Now I go on this way. What is the change in the first part and the second part that I spoke? Anyone?
Description.
So the audience can imagine what you're actually saying.
Yes, audience can imagine. Second, description.
Interest. Audience.
Interest. Audience interest. Okay. In a way, I was beating around the bush. I did not get to the cow. In a way, I'm just beating around the bush. I'm not going to the point. But here's the technique, that when asked to talk about a cow, don't directly go to the cow. Build a nice garden or a park, plant a tree, describe the rope, then talk about the cow. So this technique may help in cases where you're not sure of what to speak on the topic. The topic could be something simple. Start off with a story. Typically, once upon a time, I was going there. So it gives you 10 seconds to buy that time, right? Yeah. I mean, it's true. It works. Again, it really depends on where you take it from there. Not always starting with once upon a time. So I'll tell you, I had this table topic that was given to me, and it was a tall tale table topic at one of the contests that we had. It said, talk to us about how you married Angelina Jolie. This is the topic, and this is the topic. Now, I had no idea what to do. And obviously, what will I talk? What will I talk about this entire element? I had to exaggerate. So then I started there. I said that, I finished college and I went back home. My dad said, "Son, it's time for you to get married." I said, "No, Dad, I don't want to." Then my dad said, "Look at the girl that, I've selected for you." So I built this entire story. Not necessary for me to talk about all of this, but that's the art of table topics. Yeah, that's the art of speaking impromptu, managing any situation at all. Now, can you do this in office meetings? Big no. Obviously no. Get to the point when it's that case. But if it's a contest, if it's a fun element, if you have to engage people, go ahead and do that. Go ahead and talk about it and pick things that are relevant, pick things that are all around. And that's how we will go ahead and learn. So this is one part that I wanted to share. Second instance, how many of you use Google Maps? Okay, everyone uses Google Maps. Yes, all of us use Google Maps. I don't think we can survive without Google Maps in today's context, especially the world that we are living in. Now, I love one feature of Google Maps. It's fascinating. Every time I drive, whether it's a two-wheeler or a four-wheeler, and you place Google Maps, you plug into your ears or you place it on one side, whatever you call it, people call it Google Auntie, gives you very nice directions. So let's say that you have to take a right after 500 meters. In 500 meters, take a right. It's the first indication. So you reach closer. It says in 100 meters, take a right. The moment you reach the junction, again, it will say take right. Now, what is happening here? Our mind is getting prepared. How many of us are ready already, that, okay, steering needs to go on the right, or the handlebar needs to move to the right. Or it says take a U-turn, then we know we will slow down, we will take the right lane, left lane. We will do all of these things because Google Maps is giving us directions. Or suddenly, it says, and it gives us directions well in advance. So Google Maps doesn't do this, right? That you reach there, you reach a four-way junction, and then it says take left. What if you're on the right lane? Accident. So Google Maps gives you intimation well in advance. Now, this is prepared speeches. You know that after 500 meters, I have to take a right. After 100 meters, you have to take a right. When to take that U-turn. Now, I'll tell you what table topics is. Let's say you are not using Google Maps. There's a friend behind you. Yeah, on a two-wheeler, there's a friend. And all of us have this one friend who is absolutely great at maps. So the moment this person looks at the maps, this person's lost in looking everywhere around. and you have to take a right at a signal. This person will not tell you till you reach the signal or till you reach the junction. The moment you reach the junction, you'll say right. Then what will you do? Can you take that right? Not in all cases. If you're going at a particular speed, suddenly if I say take right, what will happen? What if another vehicle is coming behind? What if you're on the left lane? That is table topics. There is no Google Maps to give you direction saying in 500 meters, take right. Or let's say Google changes its features. It says no advanced notifications. I'll tell you only when you reach the junction. That is table topics. So let us understand the difference in these scenarios. And what do we do in such situation? Let's say you are driving, that scooter or that bike or that car, and your friend gives you a wrong direction. What will you do in that situation?
Take the next route to reach the same destination.
Take the next route to reach the same destination. Great. Anyone else? Possible reactions.
Backtrack.
Backtrack. Okay. Backtrack. Some of us will panic, right? We'll also panic. The moment our friend says, hey, what to do? Should I go right? Should I go left? If you're not able to process that information. Now that's what we do in table topics also. Remember that it's okay if you miss that right, you can go take a U-turn. That is what, when you're speaking, you miss a point, it's okay. Go take the next U-turn. Google Maps reroutes, right? I was talking about the Mumbai example. By chance, if you don't know the route, and if it gives you the wrong cut, it will reroute back. Or will you end up going, say, no problem, I'll go to Bangalore instead of Mumbai? Will any of you do that? You'll obviously you will reach your destination. And that's the point that I want to close on. And remember, it is okay to take the wrong direction when you're speaking in table topics. It's okay to miss a little when we start off, but it's important to get back on track. Because what is your destination? Mumbai, possibly, if that's the case. So remember your destination, go in that direction, and make sure to keep going there. And the final point before I leave is just one word I want to give all of you. Practice. Practice for table topics like nothing else. And a lot of you may find this strange when I say, why to practice? It's just about the flow, in the moment, enjoying how it goes. But it's absolute fun when you practice, and I'll give you a tip on how to practice. Let's say, when is the table topics contest at the club?
Probably in the second week of next month.
Great. You still have another month, 30 days, and take this as a challenge. Trust me, you can come back to me if this doesn't work. For the next 30 days, pick one topic every day. You don't have a topic, I'll give you. I have a list of 700 table topics with me. I'm not even joking, 700. I'll give you a topic every day, and I'll pass the list to you. You pick a topic of your choice every day. Pick up that topic and practice in front of the mirror, whether you want to record your audio, whether you want to do it to a friend, but practice one table topic every day. If you ask me, the best is to record yourself on audio and then eventually move to record on video. Disclaimer, a lot of you will hate your voice when you record yourself. I don't like my voice. Well, today I don't have a choice. I say, this is it, just get used to it. We don't have these sweet melodious singer's voice, right? That we get used to it. But you will not like your voice, but the advantage of recording is you can listen to it once, twice, thrice, and you will understand where you're going wrong. You will understand where you need to improve. So, and again, I'm sharing this from experience. There was a group that I started 2.5 years back, almost 3 years, called Table Topic A Day Keeps Nervousness Away. And this is true. This is not a hoax or a joke. Table Topic A Day Keeps Nervousness Away. It has worked. There are people who've practiced table topics for 60 days, 100 days, 200 days, 1 full year. And you see their confidence improving. You see they are getting better with it because there's no substitute for practice. All of the things that I mentioned, if you only take it directly to the contest, it's a big, big experiment. It's a big risk you're taking. Practice it in advance so you don't have to really fail there. That's about it. We spoke about listening, thinking, organizing, delivering. We had multiple instances, examples. What I will do is I will share a few links with you. There are additional sessions that I've conducted earlier that I had recorded on table topics. I'll share that playlist link with Purva. She'll send it across to the club group and all of you can have a look at that. If you're interested in the topics, please let me know. I will share that across as well. But make sure you're practicing and remember 2 important elements. 1, pray to the cow before going for table topics. And second, remember that there's no Google Maps. Thank you so much. Back to you, Purva, and I hope all of you enjoyed the session. If there are any questions, I can take that.
Thank you so much, Sanjay. Yes, now we are open to questions. So if anyone has them, please share it with Sanjay.
Points that you shared with us today. This really helps us for developing our table topics. So my question was that whenever I try to give a table topic, one of my focus is to give some statistics in that, right? But we are not aware of the exact figures or exact things that when we say. So I just wanted to ask, giving fake statistics, is this right to do in a table topics? For example, I want to say that the YouTube is now the most used app in the world right now. So I'll say that 50% of the people use, but I know that it's not an exact figure. So should I do this, or how should I leave it?
It's a gamble, and it
Okay.
may work, it may not work. At a contest, never do this. One, because you're clearly not doing a fact check. However, if you can turn that into a joke when you speak, that's a different story. So let's say you give this fact, and today, even if not in an online contest, in-person contest, say one of the judges just Googles it. Judges just go ahead and Google it, and they think it's wrong. They will mark you down crazy for a simple reason that you are not giving the right fact, or you're misleading the audience. It may be treated like something wrong. So don't take a chance in a contest, I would say. Otherwise, if you think you have an estimate figure, just say approximately. If you think just don't throw blind facts if you have no idea.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. In short, avoid unless you're sure.
Okay, yeah, sure. Thank you, Sanjay.
Yep.
And my second question was that. Yep. Sorry, I'm interrupting. Yeah, you can.
No, go on.
Okay. My second question was that using tall tales in table topics, like as you said, for example, marriage with Angelina Jolie. So, for example, if I can make up a tall tale story for my given table topic, so should I use imaginative things in my table topics, or how is it?
You can, given that you are still, again, I'll tell you one thing, honestly, whether we like it or not, the table topic contest just comes down to a piece of paper. It's a ballot with certain guidelines. Now, if your tall tale story is able to fit into all of the things in the ballot, then it's great. When I say fit in, again, like like I said, it's not mechanical to say so that you have to do all of the things, but that's where you're going to be marked on. The judges are not going to give their feeling. They're going to mark you on certain criteria. So if you think that all of the points in the ballot, if you had a look at the ballot, great. If you not have a look at it, read both sides of the ballot. That will give you a fair idea of what extent you can exaggerate and what extent not.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Sanjay.
And one more thing that I want to ask is that when they give us the topic, so they will start the time once we utter the first word, right? Before
first
that
word or first action?
First action. So we can have like 20 seconds to think about the topic.
In a contest, no. In a contest, it's a gray area. There is no rule around this, but preferably don't wait more than 5 seconds. Not a great impression in a contest, at least. In a club meeting, yes, take 15-20 seconds. It's okay. Relax and do it. In a contest, typically not more than 5 seconds, because it doesn't appear that well, and naturally anyone else who does it instantly will have an advantage over you, even if your content is better.
Okay. Yes.
Sanjay.
Yes.
I just know the things about my profession only, and if I'll get a chance, which is totally irrelevant, I don't have any idea about that. So how to deal with that topic?
So you give me an example of a topic, and let's sort of do a small study here. Any topic that you think you may not be able to relate.
Example: foreign affairs strategies in India. Like that.
Okay. Yes. Firstly, let's say this: table topics which come or which require a certain set of knowledge are not table topics. It happens in club meetings where people will give you such topics, but don't worry about that. If you ask me to talk about some technology that I don't know, I will not know. It's as simple as that. So topics, Dyaneshwar, for example, I'll take the same example again. Slow and steady wins the race. Can you pick up a story for this?
No.
Yes, that's where you need to work on the first two elements: the listening, observing, and the thinking bit. So you look at examples of where, think of some place where slow and steady wins the race. So let's say, Dyaneshwar, have you seen an ant move? Yeah, the ants when they go to eat food, or have you heard of that? The ants will all go in one line and get all of their food. No one breaks the line. So multiple stories, multiple instances. There are so many examples that are out there, and I'm sure you have them with you. You lived, life with your experiences, observing your family, your friends, your relatives, if you have children, and this is where you pick the stories from. You don't have to specifically research or Google, but otherwise, if you think all is not there, then reading books helps. Reading a few storybooks, reading a few novels gives you a variety of ideas, certain things to pick on. One more thing I mentioned, I absolutely missed bringing this point, is always have certain set characters and situations. In a situation like Dyaneshwar was saying. So Dyaneshwar, who is your go-to person? And anyone whom your life revolves around daily, your parents, your spouse, your kids, anyone.
My boss.
Your boss, great. So bring your boss in every table topics, as simple as that. I do that. I used to bring my dad in every table topics. In every table topic. Angelina Jolie also, I told you, right? I brought my dad into the topic. No connection at all. But that's where you build a story. And then that's where, the Dyaneshwar slow and steady wins the race. For example, if I were you and about your boss, how I wish my boss told that slow and steady wins the race. But he always wants me to do the work fast. Then build up a story, then give an example of your work or something. And then in the end say, no, slow and steady doesn't win the race because my boss says no. You see what I'm doing now. I'm just building this up randomly as I speak to you. But if it's your boss, your colleagues, anyone, there are people who have their dogs as characters in all of their table topics. They will talk about their dog in everything. Yeah, people will talk about their boss, their co-workers, anything at all. The idea is it's up to your imagination and your creativity. Just spend a little time, keep practicing. And remember, practicing one day will not help. It will be difficult. Keep doing it. 10 days, 15 days, 20 days. You may find it difficult, but don't give up. That's where I think it'll help.
Thank you, Sanjay.
Yep. Okay, I think that's about it. We can call it a close otherwise.
Yes. All right. Yeah. Anyone else who wants to ask a final call?
One question. You say about running around the bush. So I wanted to ask, like, sometimes some advices are you just stick to the topic and create a story. So
Yes.
is it depending upon the topic that you like? It's a generic one, then you create the atmosphere or the structure that you want, or sometimes the topic is so vast that you have so many stories to tell, maybe 1 or 3 points, or it is revolving around some motivation or some concept. So I sometimes I get that go to the topic directly instead of creating so much.
Go ahead.
Is it
Absolutely.
advisable, or is it
No,
because
it's
sometimes
good.
to create that effect or to give that effect you have to build so much, but the timing is so
100%.
short
100%.
that you cannot. The meaning will be at the end, and sometimes it's the time for you to summarize the ideal way.
Agreed. So take a call based on one, how much you understand the topic. Second, how much you know, how much content you have. Like I said, I wouldn't do that for a topic that I know. And I'll tell you the one topic that one amazing topic that I remember was we are products of our past, but we should not be prisoners of it. This is a district level topic. We are products of our past, but we should not be prisoners of it. What will you talk on such a topic? So here, if you have a concept, you understood what this means, right?
Correct,
that we are all a result of what has happened in our past, but we should not say live in our past. At times, especially on a stage where there's a lot of pressure, you may or may not be able to connect to this
the topic. Yeah, it would be so easy if you give it a thought, but just on prompt, it would be like, what is this topic? I even don't understand.
So that is where you take 15, 20, 30 seconds to buy that time to do a setup of the story. Not more. You can't take 1.5 minutes. Your total time is only 2 minutes plus the 30 seconds buffer. 30 seconds is okay to start off with a story and just start off a conversation. So, one Sunday morning, or when I went to office, when I was in college, when I was in school, or as a child, you thought about past, bring that. As a child, I used to do this. And at the back of your mind, process what you need to speak, what needs to happen next.
Yeah.
It's a risky thing to do, but yes. But if you've not understood the topic, might as well take a bet, right? Rather than standing and, oh no, yeah, okay, bye. It's better than at least speak something. Yeah. I did that. So it's a true thing. You know, I was talking about the time where I got second in a club level thing. I was so expecting to win, and trust me, I went. I said, no, I want to win this, because even the year before that, I went to the division and lost. So I said, no, this time I'm winning and I'm going all the way. The topic at the club was every cloud has a silver lining. Such a simple topic. I mean, you know, for people who practiced, it's a very simple topic. I failed at that topic. I was blabbering. I said, you know, that I drew clouds here, this. Now it failed, but at least I managed to get second because I spoke. I went on and on and on, and I fit most of the criteria. That way, maybe if the person who won first that day would not have spoken, I had a chance. So the idea is don't give up just if you don't understand the topic. Yep. Okay, all right. I'm not sure if I've taken too much time, but thank you so much.
Yeah, we had a separate time limit for Q&A. So we just exhausted that. So thank you so much, Sanjay. I mean, you continuously spoke for almost 50 minutes. I mean, it's not easy to speak for that long, but I guess you have the passion to speak, and that is why
Thank you so much.
Continue for so long. Thank you so much for giving those insight. I made my notes, and trust me, it is going to help us a lot. Even when I used to take table topic sessions, you know, we had a lot of challenges and all, and this is the same recurring thing that, you know, we got the feedback. Whatever you had suggested, it was very clear and crisp, and the same thing happened there. So I guess this works everywhere, and these set of advices are really useful when it comes to table topics, and we should practice every day. Yes. All right. Thank you so much once again, Sanjay, for coming. I mean, I'm really sorry that I could not guide you properly about the timings and all. It was my mistake. We had changes in agenda. That is why there was some shift, but we managed it out at the end, and it came out as a wonderful session. Again, thanks for joining. Also, let me take a group photo quickly before everyone drops off. So, Yog and Sashank, can you please turn on your videos? Yes. Okay. Pose. Thank you so much. Yes.
Great. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me here. All the best, everyone. I'll take leave.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Thank you,
Sanjay. Keep coming.
Thank you so much. Thanks. Sure. Thanks. Bye.
Okay. All right, guys.
Okay. Can you end the live stream?
Yeah. Just